The greatest athlete of professional sports we've ever seen, Walker Kessler. No, I'm kidding. The Jazz win 126-125 in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Rudy Gobert played 5 minutes before pulling his groinial region, and Walker Kessler dominated. 20 points, 21 rebounds, and I thought had the game of his career. And it brings us back to this conversation we've been having on this show for the last couple of months, it feels like, and that is, even when he's healthy, Kelly Olynyk, should Walker Kessler start over Kelly Olynyk? I say absolutely. I don't know why you wouldn't, because we're getting these little flashes in the pan. And I don't care if Rudy Gobert played or not. It doesn't matter to me. Walker Kessler showed us something yesterday with that stat line and that performance and his ability to finish on the run, that he is a guy that can contribute on offense, and he is still an elite shot blocker. Jake, I think Walker Kessler should be starting at center for this club.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Walker Kessler is someone who is athletic. I think obviously he's got young legs on him, so he's able to sustain it over most of the game. And I think, yeah, last night, obviously he wasn't playing against, a full-on 7-foot big. So, a little bit more access to put up a big game. But I think that what you're seeing is, his ability to finish in tight spaces. I think he's got good touch around the rim. I also think that he's starting to get more aggressive in the pick and roll game. There were several times where he set the pick, he rolled, and they found him, whether it was Beasley or Conley or whoever. I mean, he was getting fed last night. And to me, when he was out of the game, the T-Wolves had, no problem getting to the rim. But when he was in the game, even on, I look at, later in the game in the fourth coming down the stretch, he affected a lot of shots. So to me, I just think this kid needs more minutes. Just keep giving him more minutes. Like, play him. Don't overplay him to the point where he's going to get hurt, but play him. Like, I really feel like 30 minutes a night is not too much to ask. Like, the guy should really be out there and develop him. Like, because if you can have a premier big on your team already that you don't have to go and trade for, that changes something like the DeAndre Ayton situation. If you are patient, if you feel like you could be patient enough to let this guy develop a little bit, let him show you what his jumper looks like,
right.
Let him show you what he can do, well, that opens some doors, because now you don't need to go and make an Ayton trade. You can make a different trade now because he's good. So,
but here's the other question. How good was Danny Ainge this summer? Because what you saw out of Walker Kessler and Ochai Agbaji last night was nothing short of sensational. Those two guys I think I can make the argument, without those two guys, they don't win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you look at Ochai's line last night, and I know everybody's on Walker Kessler, Ochai Agbaji yesterday played 31 minutes, 6 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3, 2 rebounds, a block. It was a +3 and 17 points. And his defense made a massive difference in this game. The thing that you're starting to see with Ochai is the double team instinct is developing on a possession-to-possession basis. Timing of doubles, being in the right place, anticipation, rebounding. His rebounding has grown exponentially just in the last month.
Yeah.
You're watching somebody turn into a guy that couldn't get on the floor and spent the first half of the season in the G League to a guy that you can't keep out of the rotation now in Ochai Agbaji.
Yeah.
He is a knockdown three-point shooter in the corner. And I think the biggest question now is, why on earth would you answer the phone if Danny Ainge is calling? Mm-hmm. Because he absolutely fleeced the Minnesota Tinder Puppy Wolf things. Like you guys, the Timberwolves got dominated in that trade.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
I'm for real.
But look at the Don trade. He dominated the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're watching Lauri Markkanen, who didn't play yesterday, by the way, with this hip injury. But you're watching Lauri Markkanen blossom into an all-star right in front of your face. He's a player that he's never been before. And trust me when I say, as a Chicago Bulls fan, I was not sad the day that he wound up wearing a Cleveland shirt. Mm-hmm. I was not sad. And Cleveland was not sad to trade Lauri Markkanen to the Jazz. But the Jazz, in this new era of Utah Jazz basketball where they're developing people, have turned Lauri Markkanen into an all-star.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that just settles for the easy J anymore. because that's who he used to be. He was never run the floor catch and dunk guy. He was, hey, let me chill out here at the three-point line and hopefully I knock this down. That's who he was. Not anymore. He is running the floor. He is making the elbow jumper. He is playing on the block. He is rebounding. He is defending. Of course, he's shooting the three at a higher level. Lauri Markkanen's turned into this really good all-around player. Colin Sexton last night, I think, had one of his better games as a Utah Jazz man. Not relying on the three or the wild three or just playing freelance basketball. He's playing system basketball. And then you look at Ochai. They won the Cleveland trade. There's no doubt about that now. But if Danny Ainge calls you at the trade deadline, why are you even going to pick up the phone? You see an 801 area code, bro, don't answer the phone.
Y'all feel me?
Let him leave me a voicemail, man, because I ain't ready to get whooped.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what you're looking at in this situation with Danny Ainge. These last two trades are nothing short of a heist.
Yeah.
And I am just so thrilled to see Walker Kessler and Ochai Agbaji doing the things that they're doing. Your best player was out of the lineup, and it was no problem because of what Ochai and Walker Kessler did.
Well, and you know the name that deserves a lot of credit is David Fizdale. I mean, the guy obviously was brought in for a purpose and a reason, and he's fulfilling that purpose and reason. And I think this is kind of what I and we were talking about over like last summer and like with last year's team. Like this is the kind of development that wasn't happening. You weren't seeing Rudy add some stuff to his game midseason. You weren't seeing this type of development. And look, I know these guys are young guys, right? I know, last year's team was a veteran team, different vibe, hey, we know how to play. Okay, I understand that. Totally get it. But it just seems to be this situation where the culture's changed. It just has. And now you're seeing a team with a bunch of culture around, hey, let's get better. We know we're a young team, but we have time. Let's work on these things. And then as they work on these things and show that they can do them, that gets added to the list of expectation. Hey, I expect Walker Kessler to dunk instead of layup. I expect him to set better screens. I expect him to do X, Y, and Z.
It's that little tip-in at the rim that Rudy just could not do.
Yeah.
The thing that is so exciting about Walker Kessler for me is these little things that he's doing, that this offense, man, if this Walker Kessler, and this is going to be an outlandish statement, I totally understand it. If this Walker Kessler had been on this Utah Jazz team last year, look out. Because now you're a different team. And I just can't get away from the fact that Walker Kessler is a better offensive player than Rudy Gobert is. I said it, and I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Walker Kessler's a better offensive player than Rudy Gobert is.
And you're not the only one saying it. And I think that people are starting to accept that, oh my God, wow, holy crap, Rudy Gobert wasn't maybe as good as we all thought he was, or maybe wasn't as valuable as we all wanted him to be.
Not pliable.
Yeah.
Like
rigid.
Rudy Gobert was a guy that you couldn't say, hey, we got to get you on the block. We need you to be able to do a power dribble up into a slam.
Hey, look here, man.
Hey, we need you to be able to catch the ball and make a quick pass to a cutter.
Dude, that spin move he did in the paint to get to his, I believe it was his right hand, that was nice, bro. That was that was fluid. It looked natural. It looked relatively easy.
And he's a rookie.
Yeah, I know. Dude needs to lift weights, right?
He needs to build his body a bit, and obviously he needs a 7-footer. He needs a jumper. And if he ever consistently knocks down a jumper, he's going to be your starting center for 5 years.
But what's exciting is, like, you look at his shooting form, and it caters to, he should be able to.
It projects.
It's
it
not
absolutely
like he's
projects.
got some whack shooting form. And so to me, it's like, this kid, the sky is the limit for Walker Kessler. I really do believe that in my heart of hearts for this kid. And I think that all he's got to do is get in the gym this summer, put on 10, 12, 15 pounds of muscle this summer in the offseason.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, work on the jumper, and then come back. And if all he comes back with next season is the ability to bang with guys, to be strong enough to hold your ground against, Drummond, Steven Adams, like the big boys in the league, if he can just do that, that would be a huge win, in my opinion, because that is the one glaring hole in his game. He can't be physical with guys right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But this also explains why over the last week or so, Kelly Olynyk's name has been in trade rumors.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense because you have to go all in on the youth of this team. You know that the Utah Jazz are, I think the only guys you're not trading are probably Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler.
I have Ochai on that list right now. I want to see just how far you can take it with him. Because
I wouldn't go that far. If Ochai Agbaji finishes off a trade, it's not the end of the world. Would you love to see him 2 years from now? Yeah, I would. I would love to see it. But is Ochai Agbaji a guy that'll go and get, the best skills coach in the world? Is he a guy that'll, I don't know if he's that guy. But if he goes and develops himself, great. If I can get 2 first-round picks, but only if I include Ochai Agbaji, I'm doing that. Kelly Olynyk, I'm doing that. I think Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler are the only untouchables. You're not wrong that we need to see what Ochai turns into.
The only reason that I'm on Ochai is not because I think he's going to be some all-star. I don't think he's going to be some all-star. But what I know is every championship team has a guy that stands in the corner and knocks it down at 42%. And Ochai's going to be that guy for somebody. He will be that guy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. He can be an important player. He can be that guy. I don't disagree with that at all. But I'm telling you, man, he is an absolute thrill to watch as a rookie. The
Kessler?
Excitement, yes, Walker Kessler as a rookie. Thank you. Walker Kessler is a thrill to watch. I am super stoked about that. I am really excited to see what he does. NY Monty fan talking Jazz says, bad thing is I don't think there is a demand to trade Olynyk. Kessler is clearly a starter. Well, you know what? I don't know that I can agree with that. I think there's a couple of teams that need a bench big. It's certainly in the West. I mean, you need bench depth if you are Phoenix. If you are, the Clippers are a team that needs bench depth. I mean, there's no doubt that you have your number one, and his name just went right out of my head. The center for the Clippers.
Zubats.
Yes, Ivica Zubats. Thank you. Is your number one, but who's their backup? They're playing Morris at center right now.
Well, I think what's interesting about Olynyk is he can fit into basically any roster. I mean, you can he's not a guy that's high maintenance in the locker room. Clearly,
no. So. I would think not. And you're going to see. By the way, the Clippers are here tomorrow. It's 7:00. The Jazz and the Clippers. But I think you're going to see. You look at some of these teams in the standings. Mm-hmm. I still maintain the Clippers are a really good dance partner for the Jazz. You look at their needs and you look at what the Jazz have to move. And the Clippers are, like everybody else in the West, they're a game and a half in the playoffs. That's it. I mean, and they're in the 6th spot at this point. From Dallas at the 5, who is 7 back in the West, down to Oklahoma City, who's 9.5. And really the Suns are 10 out. But nobody, I wouldn't say anybody below the Lakers, like San Antonio, you're done. The Houston Rockets are done. The Lakers are a game and a half out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, they're 13th in the West. They're not done. That's why everybody thinks they're trying to make a deal. And they should. If they get Bojan Bogdanovic, that's a playoff team. Mm-hmm. And that's that one trade. If you are a Jazz fan, that's that one trade that's going to kick you in the nuts. Yeah. Because you should have gotten a first-round pick out of the Lakers for Bojan Bogdanovic, and you wouldn't do it. Yeah. You wanted to put your middle finger up and send him to Detroit for nothing. Mm-hmm. You quite literally send him to Detroit for nothing. Mm-hmm. For personal atonement or whatever you want to say, whatever your grudge is against the Lakers.
Yeah.
You could have had a first-round pick that granted, 26 and 27 don't project out to be great picks. I'll take a first-round pick for Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
I would have. And it's really unfortunate that you were willing to send out Pat Bev to the Lakers, but you weren't willing to send Bojan Bogdanovic to get a first-round pick. That just seems like...
It's strange.
It's very strange. But anyway, here nor there, you look at the LA Clippers and you look at what they have, and you quickly start to understand that they're getting healthy, man. You look at their win over Houston the other night, and you start realizing who's playing the minutes for them. It is guys like Ivica Zubac's playing 30 minutes. Who's their backup center? They don't, I mean, outside of Moses Brown, you know, they don't really have a great backup center right now, and they need it.
You can see where Olynyk would fit in that group.
Yes.
You know, playing 15 or 20 maybe minutes a night, like.
And you're getting, the scary thing is you're getting more 30-point performances out of Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
That's what should scare you, right? And if they are able to make like a Mike Conley trade, because they don't have a point guard on their roster right now. I don't know if you guys realize that about the LA Clippers. With John Wall being out, they're using Kawhi Leonard. They're using Terrence Mann. They're using like this mix of guys.
Yeah.
And Reggie Jackson's playing 50. You don't have a starting point guard. Reggie Jackson's playing 15 minutes off the bench.
Well, they've run him in the ground, though, too.
They need Mike Conley.
Yeah.
They need Kelly Olynyk. And, you know, listen, if you want to throw me an expiring contract, let's do that. Let's have a conversation about Luke Kennard. Let's have a conversation about, you know, obviously I'm not that excited. I wouldn't want John Wall, but there's some value there, man. I'm telling you, if you look at the guys that are playing the bulk of the minutes for this team, there is some value on that roster for this Jazz team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and I think that, you know, the Jazz, again, these are all trades that you have to get right. You know, you can't just make trades and make trades anymore if you're the Jazz. You're in a situation now where you have gotten to a certain point in the climb where your young depth is really working hard and developing and doing some good things. And I'll keep saying it, the Jazz are in almost every game that they play. They just don't know how to finish games.
Nice to win a 1-point game if you're the Jazz, right?
Right. And you won that with a lot of good defensive possessions down the stretch, which was really nice to see. So, like I said, I mean, I think, you know, like the Clippers, he's right, are a great example of a team that there's opportunity in trade, 100%. There's good opportunity in trade. And I look around, if I'm Danny Ainge, and I say, okay, I want to be a little more careful about who I'm including in this trade because it is the West and because we are going to play them. And if, you know, when we get to the playoffs, we're going to see this team. So I want to be mindful about who I'm sending to the Clippers. But overall, yeah, there's opportunity there.
But I have no interest in a Robert Covington. I have no interest
Excuse me, it's Rocco, please.
Yeah, exactly. I have no interest in filleting a guy by calling him Rocco.
Yeah.
I have no interest in a Nick Batum but you know the guy that I have a lot of interest in, looking at his number, John Wall's making $6.5 million and he's on a club option for next year.
Yeah.
I'll take that contract back. You want to give me John Wall for half a year? You can have Mike Conley? Yeah, let's do that deal. Right? All day I'll do that deal.
Well, and I think, but it's important to understand why, right? Like, I know you know why, but like you're talking about, like, with that kind of deal, you're moving Mike's money, you're bringing on John Wall's money, which is less than Mike's money, and you can drop his contract number from your cap.
And my guess is that you would wind up having to take a Kennard. You'd wind up having to take a Marcus Morris. You'd have to take somebody else and make a broader trade. Just because, remember, the Jazz are hard capped, which means dollar for dollar, they cannot add salary
You can't do it.
But I think there's a deal to be made with the Clippers, and I think it's pretty substantive. There's a good deal to be made with the Clippers, in my opinion. So listen, again, I'm just excited to see them win a 1-point game. That Walker Kessler and Ochai Agbaji are the reasons they won that game are phenomenal.
Yes.
Mark Barrington says guys like Covington and Batum feel like two year ago targets, not 2023 targets.
Totally agree.
Exactly right. Alex Chacon, who's a member of the show, says Mann or Coffee and a first for Conley. I would not mind Terrence Mann.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that can give you minutes. I think. I do. Troy, good morning to you. Mr. E says, and the Jazz have legit chance to make the play-in. All casuals saying the Wolves could make conference finals with soft Gobert, LOL. I think we've talked ad nauseum about that. You know. Tanner Plummer says, I know it's not exactly a major accomplishment, but if the Jazz make the play-in tournament, that would be awesome in my opinion. They have every opportunity to do that. Let's see what they do at the deadline because that will dramatically impact what they do. And you got to get Laurie healthy. And I mean, you really, if you're serious about making the playoffs, they could use the money, certainly. And that would be a nice bump in games. But We'll see what they do here. Hey, before Football 50, I want to remind you that you can get yourself a membership to this fine here program. All you have to do is hit the join button, as so many of our members have. Another great day in the exclusive members-only Instagram chat. All of you that are members on this program know about the Instagram chat. We had a great chat last night. Everybody was ripping Jake, for his Dak Prescott hate, which was, I thought, remarkable. I really enjoyed that part of the chat last night. But talking about the Jazz game, talking about, the football game, like that's what this has become. But it's also become a great community of support for each other. And I think it's been fun to talk about cold plunges and cold showers. It's been fun to talk about nutrition. Like we have a really good group of dudes in our members only Instagram chat, with all due respect to Amber, because she's also in there. But it is, I think it's the best part of our membership when you join the Monty Show membership. It's $9.99 a month. You get a daily exclusive video, but you also get first access to our merch drops. You also get first access to our contests. For instance, our merch drops, you're going to get a discount. And if we only make 25 beanies, let's say, and there's 60 members in the group, you guys can sell them out and nobody else will ever have access to them for you only. So it's stuff like that that's a lot of fun. And you get 24-hour access to Jake and I. Hey, big shout out to Adam, who we ran into at Vaza Fitness yesterday while we were lifting.
Yes.
He gave us a big shout out. Mike, who I ran into at Harmon's at the District on Sunday morning.
What do you bet?
Mike, really good to see you. I don't know why as a man you were buying hummus, but I forgave you on the spot. But it's just really good to see our community growing. So consider clicking the join button right now. I'll kick you down a link here as well so that you can join the exclusive members only chat because it's a lot of fun. It is $9.99 a month, but I'm telling you,
it's worth your time.
It is $10 that you are going to love.